Oh, I thought I could burp. Ugh.
Intro back into our
gross.
season. Hey!
Hey, it had been a minute. And it had been a minute last month, but now we're back.
Yes, we are back after a month break.
Yes.
It hasn't been a month for us.
No.
I was going to be like, what have you been doing in the last month? But
Skiing. I've been up in the mountains.
it's like literally summer and
It's
spring.
like July.
It's really hot already.
It is really. We looked at the weather report though. It's been in the hundreds. It's gonna be like 90, 80. 90s, high 80s the next couple days for us here.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
I know. Well, it's like kind of cloudy out right now, but it's more like dusty cloudy.
Yeah, is that pollution or what is it?
I don't know. I feel like it's just, to me, it just looks like dust because it's like brown instead of, but I don't, who am I? I don't know.
Also, is the camera too off center from you?
Is it more on you?
Yes.
I don't know.
It actually has enough room for Jeffrey over here.
Is it? You can move it, I don't care.
I feel bad because it's like everything and then you're kind of like off to the side.
A rainbow flag.
I saw one of my friends on Instagram. She's very smart. She is a teacher. She was gonna be going to school to be a lawyer. I don't know if she's still on that track. But she would like posted something on her story and it was like, everybody makes fun of the kid that used to wear rainbows, suspender, and whatever, and like gay pins at school.
Fedora.
Yeah, which I was like, honestly, yeah. But then she was like, those were the trailblazers that made you feel comfortable enough to be gay today. And I was like, it kind of made me like,
can I say something crazy?
Yes.
They made me want to hide more. I didn't want to be like, I wanted somebody to be like, I'm gay, but like, I'm not like that. I'm not wearing suspenders at school.
No, honestly.
Why am I doing
honestly, yeah.
Like, I understand that concept though of like being so out there and like in yourself and know what you're doing and who you are.
They took the front lines. They're like the front lines.
Yeah, they ran head first so that we could walk behind them. Yes. I get it.
I know, but it also kind of made me like shut up for the rest of my life. That I was like, anytime that I'm like, about like certain gay like paraphernalia, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna be quiet.
Yeah.
But you're right. Honestly, though, you're right.
It's that extreme that allows for, like, you know, more grace in the neutral.
Well, remember?
I don't know. I know we're being so judgmental.
Well, remember I told you that in high school when I saw kids that were, like, non-binary and stuff, I used to be like, attention seekers. Like, I used to be bad, like, ew, just, like, I don't know.
Be
like,
normal.
Yeah, just, like, be okay with yourself. Which they're like, I am. I'm like...
That's the point.
Yeah, I'm like, oh... And then they got me.
The woke virus got you.
The disease it carried over to me. I'm like,
disease.
Dig it.
It's in the pollution.
Thank you for the trailblazers out there.
Yes, hey. We see you. We saw you back then.
Yeah, we'll make fun of you a little bit. But in like the kindest way.
We make fun of everyone equally here.
Yes, we do. It's for everybody.
It's for everyone.
The same love, the same hate. Everyone's gonna come out of this podcast feeling bad about this.
This is not meant for Hope.
Yeah, we're like, actually, Hopecore.
I know. Hope. Can you believe it?
Yes, we're back and we're starting our Hopecore season.
I'm stoked about that, by the way.
Yes, and I feel like I've been editing our Trans Visibility Day video, and it, you know, we focused a lot on the hardships. We have like 2 hours of film of us just being like, and I can't believe, and I can't believe, I can't, and I was like, wow, like
a lot of it was kind of negative, but it was more of like, I feel like we were like bringing light to like the disparities of what's going on.
Yes, which is part of the visibility that
but
that day is about.
You know, yeah. Now that we were kind of like this.
I was watching back through it and I was like,
But like your stat stuck with me though.
Really?
Of like the amount of people that are like for
rights.
Trans rights. Yeah. I was like, that number shocked me. It was like 73. That shocked me.
Really?
But it made me feel really good. I was like, hell yeah. Like, those people need to probably raise their voices a little bit more. Or maybe it's just so loud coming from the 20 3% or whatever the hell.
Yeah. One of the articles I read was like, there's a lot of media about a very small yet very loud, hateful minority, which I was like, you're right. They're a very small minority that are just like chihuahuas out there. Like,
Yeah.
they have the loudest bark, but like, okay, like, you
Yeah.
just was kind of annoying. It really put into perspective. I really like that stat too. I'm really glad it stuck with you.
It did, yeah. I told a lot of people about it.
Really? Maybe
Yeah.
I'll make a social media video focusing on that
Yeah.
too, because I think that'd be really cool.
It was cool.
So if you guys see a social media video about it, just know that this moment inspired it.
Yes, right now. You're here for it.
You think Jesus likes this podcast or not?
I bet he hears it.
We're the minority
We're
that's
the
super
little
loud.
ants in the back that he's like, what is that? There's like a mosquito in here or something.
He's like, I guess it's like good, I guess. They're trying.
I can hear it, but like it doesn't sound like
Yeah, I'm like
it's like your heart and soul.
Yeah, I'm like,
Aww.
Jesus, please. He's like, I don't know. Anyway, I think about that actually pretty often. I'm like, do you think Jesus would like this? Because there's also a difference between agreeing with what I'm doing versus him actually being like, I enjoy this.
I don't know. Maybe because I haven't considered that part of like, does he enjoy it? That's different to me. I feel like it's, I don't know, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, what if he really does get into heaven and he's like, I liked what you did, you're annoying.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
your message was there, but you yap like crazy.
He's like, your editing's a little funky.
I can definitely hear the cuts.
Yeah, he's like, Gracie does a good job, but your episodes, I'm like, okay, thank you. Hope. I am hopeful that Jesus likes us.
There you go. There you go.
This episode, yes, we were a little Debbie Downer on the trans visibility, which we, again, brought to light, which is the reality, though, of our society, which I think is good. This episode, as much as it's like our true season opener, it still is going to be a little bit of dealing with negativity within our world, which, again, is just a reality. Mm-hmm. There's no way to escape that. There's corruption and there's the feelings that come from the corruption within the world and society that we live in America especially. We're going to address that though, because I also think that part of hope is addressing the reality of the feelings that come along with it. I think sometimes if we get too focused on like, just be hopeful, just be hopeful, then it's like that toxic positivity thing, whatever coin term.
It's hard. I think looking at it in the face and then still having hope is more realistic than just being like ignorant to it and being like, I'm hopeful that it's good, knowing there's a fire behind you.
Yes, because I also think that ignorance breeds a lot of bad, because then you hear those arguments of like, so you were just okay with this, or you're letting people get treated a certain way just because you don't want to acknowledge something going on in the world around you, just to keep your own hope or positivity. Yeah. I think you put it in a really good way.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yes. I'm like, so we're going to ignore everything, guys.
Yeah. It's hard to be hopeful.
Yes.
But it's important.
You have to be hopeful. Yeah.
It's important.
So that's kind of what we're addressing today, because this season is very much inspired by the anger that I was feeling, that I have been feeling. We're going to jump right into it right now. Trigger warning also to anyone that feels sensitive about the Epstein files. I'm going to just address it very, very quickly and very lightly. Maybe, who knows, I ramble. I learned that too when I was editing last time. I was like, gosh, dang, Marissa. Yeah. I know.
I do it too, though. I derail us quite a bit more than I realize. Yeah. I know that I do that. Anyway.
It's okay. Perfect.
We're
perfect pairing.
We can change.
Anyway. So trigger warning on that. Mm-hmm. But this season really did get inspired. We talked about the redirection that we're going to be having. Originally, season 3 was supposed to be about sex, and now it is our Hopecore season. And the main catalyst for that was the release of the Epstein files. I am not someone that reads through them completely. I see the bits of things that I do on social media.
The bits that are actually released.
Yes. Yes, that is true too.
Later.
Yes. It is the most like atrocious anything that I've ever seen. It makes me angry that people are willing to do things to children, to our society and our world. Like, I am appalled that that sort of stuff is out there. There are things that were like incomprehensible to me that I was reading, and I'm sure honestly that was a lot of America and society in general when reading those.
Hopefully, a lot of people were
Yes.
disgusted by it.
Yes. And especially as someone who, and we've talked about this on the pod, we've done deep dives into the kind of practices that were described in those files.
Mm-hmm.
It weighed on me heavier to think that I know what is happening in a way. Not even to the full extent, but I have an idea of where these things are derived from. And I'm such a research kid that I have looked into like how does this connect, and there is just too many connections. I don't want to encourage those who are not supposed to be researching that stuff to do so. I do think that there are certain people that can handle that kind of knowledge and that can dive into those kind of topics. I don't think it's for everyone. And on this podcast, I'm going to be very careful with how I encourage anybody to work around the publishing of those types of files, or the media, or whatever is going on in the government, because that is not everyone's journey. And I think it can be a very dangerous game if certain people are looking into things that they shouldn't be, or that their spirit wasn't made for, or what isn't ready for. Um, that is for God to tell you. I am not even 100% there. I don't believe. I'm not sure where I'm at with that. So I'm not going to give anyone direction on that. I'm not encouraging anybody to go read the files. I'm not encouraging anybody to look into that kind of stuff. If you are interested and you are someone that is like prepared for it, or you're feeling called to go look into that, I really recommend going and listening to our Leviticus episodes. We tried to film it and it ended up turning into a solo episode because our audio was cutting out, which it was so funny with us.
Yeah.
But honestly, I was listening to it again the other day, and I am so grateful that our audio cut, because I remember being a little discouraged that I was like, ew, like I'm so boring. And it's just like so factual. But now, in light of everything going on, I was like, I am so glad that it delivered the way it did. It was very clean. I read notes. I wrote my script. I wrote it and I just read the script. And I was like, I'm so grateful it went that way, because there are things that needed to be described without being derailed. And there were things that needed to be described in a certain way that it couldn't be any other way.
Yeah. That's a heavy
Yes.
book of, yeah.
I also think our Sodom and Gomorrah episode, I think there's two. There's part one and part two. Part one, I think, was a little bit more silly, but also there was some good information in there as well. If you are somebody that wants to know more, or is like having a hard time finding peace without understanding the cultural context or any sort of background on some of these actions, I really recommend those episodes. Be careful with your research, and just be careful with, I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you to be careful with. That's between you and God, and just stay close to God while you do it.
Yeah. I would just say be careful, just because it is like, I don't know. Like we don't know the full extent, but I would just imagine it's gross.
And it is scary. It's a scary thing too when you think about what we are addressing. That was something that was scary for me. That I was like, I thought we were extremely past this kind of like barbaric nature in human beings. I don't know. My eyes were open to a lot. I'm also listened to Candace Owens a lot during this time, and which I don't know if that was. I think it was good to an extent. There were just things that I was like, holy cow.
She's a conspiracy theory babe.
Yes.
She loves to talk about that stuff.
Yes, but it's also like wasn't.
There's points of like what she's saying that are like not far off of like what could be true.
Yes. It got to a point I was like so like in depth in her podcasts and listening to her, and I was so proud of her for the way that she was just like searching for knowledge, because she also was utilizing people that were commenting and reaching out to like anybody and everybody. Like, I am so extremely proud of her. Me and my girlfriend were praying for her to the point of like, please keep her safe as she is searching for this truth. We were into it. Like, she has a lot of great points. I also recommend Candace Owens. Again, just be smart with your research. listen to God. I really recommend, if you are somebody that does need to go find this and look into it, prepare your heart, be close to God throughout the whole thing, take breaks when you need it, and remember that God is bigger than anything out there and you are protected. Do not fall into the spirit of fear. Do not fall into the spirit of confusion. Just remember that God is your savior. Jesus is your savior. Remember that he is protecting you. Remember that Jesus did talk to demons and he did talk to spirits and he had complete domain over them. He had power over them, and you are protected by this ultimate God. So do not be afraid and do not be confused thinking that anything will overtake you. Just make sure that you stay strong in God. That is my one recommendation in doing this. I said I wasn't going to give any recommendations on that, but I did. That's not the point of this episode. I don't want to dive into that in this podcast.
Into the Epstein files too much, or just
yes,
like,
no, or any sort of any what is happening in
like
that
specific.
Yes, that is just not the focus of this podcast, and I do not believe that I am prepared to speak on that.
It's pretty reasonable.
Yes, I don't know where I'm at with that again. I don't know if on like a personal level, like I've talked about it like with people close to me, but I don't know where I'm at. It's too touchy.
Where you're at on that, meaning like what you can handle talking about, or like what do you mean by where you're at with it?
In the sense of like leadership in it. I don't think I'm a leader in that realm of knowledge in that sense. Or I also don't think I'm knowledgeable enough to even be considered not even like a student. I don't know how to describe that.
Is it bad that I'm like, I almost kind of wonder, like, they're giving us nothing about it. This is my one thing. They're giving us like bits and pieces of it that I'm worried that some people are either over exaggerating or what's happening is real. Like, it's weird to not know fully or like trust what's coming out because it's coming out so like half-hearted that I'm like, why won't you just release everything? Is there a reason why it's not? This was like the administration's one big thing and everyone was for it, and now it's like, no, maybe not. That's my huge problem, that I'm like, I don't want to fall into that conspiracy-ness of it, but it is kind of like, what is going on? It must be, I mean, as a true crime girly, I'm like, people are that absolutely disgusting. People like that exist, but to this level and the amount of corruption that it's like, there were how many of our leaders and like influential people going, and I don't know if they were partaking in these things, but like there's just so much that I'm like, I don't understand what's going on.
Yes.
Can our human brains comprehend this level of disgustingness?
Exactly.
So I guess I get what you're saying.
Yes.
It's just something out there.
Yes, and
it sucks.
Actually, we're addressing that today too.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, but the Bible had the answer. Because I also was like that. And I was also in this world of AI and in this world of like media's everywhere. I was like, what is real? And am I like, I don't want to go fact check nothing on that because I'm someone that like I can't handle what I was reading. Like,
yeah. It's fair.
Big part of too why I needed a break from the pod and a month off was because it was way too much on me. That was honestly the biggest thing that led to everything happening within the pod right now. I also still am like compounding feelings of like anger against the Department of Homeland Security and what's happening within my community. That on top of the files being released and that information in there, and also just like having a bit of knowledge about the reasons possibly behind what's happening, if those are real too. So it was like this mass confusion that I was like, and then I was like, still gotta work. Yep, still gotta go to work.
Gotta go to work.
Yeah, gotta go.
Capitalism.
Yeah, put car in my gas.
Car in my gas.
Yes, I put my car in the gas tank. Take care of my cats, like, and those guys are needy. The world goes
on, as weird as that is.
So all those feelings compounded. It made me, for a long time, I was like really anxious, feeling a certain type of way. And that's actually what inspired this episode. It was a random day where I got home from work and I was still struggling with everything, and it was just like really weighing heavy on me, and I pulled out my laptop. I had no plan to work on the pod, and I planned this episode.
Nice.
It was very like it was I was like, this is an episode that we absolutely have to do. Mm-hmm. We're getting into the verses and the pieces of the Bible that have been bringing me hope throughout this time. These verses that do acknowledge the crimes and atrocities that we have learned about, they acknowledge them, but it shows in the Bible how God is still good through them and overcomes them. Because for a long time too, I was like, God, why are you letting this happen? I was turning into that, and like I felt bad for a long time too, feeling that way, especially being like this leader of the podcast, and like I'm someone that really is just like, okay, God's gonna take care of it. I'm just gonna be ignorance is bliss, and God's gonna take care of it, whatever. But this one, and after just like learning who is in our administration and the people that still support them, which has also been a big thing in my life as well, I have really been like, God, why are you letting this happen? And why did you let these things happen to the survivors and the victims of this atrocity? And it really made me question. And I sat in that for like a good 2 weeks. And then God was like, don't forget this. And I was like, you're right. And I was like, okay. And it was really neat too, because I'm like, these are things that I've come to know and come across because of this podcast and studying what we do about like homosexuality and the Christian faith today. And I was just like, wow, God was really building up to bring me peace within this moment as well. So I'm sure that other people feel as confused and as angry and as questioning as I do. So that's why we're doing this episode, so that I can share those verses with you. And we can also talk about some narratives if we get to that. But we're just going to kind of jump right into those. Hopefully that intro is okay.
No, it's great. I think I like that it was like, it seems like they came to you at like the right time.
Yeah.
Like God was like, just doing it, and here you go.
Yeah, like, I was stressed Tina though for a long time.
That's fair.
I was tweaking out.
It's reasonable. It's reasonable.
We're going to get into it, and here are the verses that brought me encouragement. Thus, our Hopecore. This is where that hope part comes in. And like we talked about earlier, we're still acknowledging the awfulness of what's happening within our society, or like the craziness that we see. But it's not without hope through it, or something looking forward to greater past that atrocity. So the first one is going to be Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. And it says, "For we are not contending against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against the powers, against the world rulers of this present darkness, against the spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places." Again, this is from Ephesians. We've done an episode on Ephesians. A lot of pagan worship going on in there. It mirrored very closely the city of Corinth, which was the one that was extremely corrupt. They were having the priestesses that were like prostitutes within the temple, essentially. And Paul was the author of Ephesians. And Paul used to be in the place of like the upper class, the higher ups, and the politicians of the time, and like the Pharisees and those kind of like rulers of the law that were like very corrupt. He was supposed to be in that until Jesus. What did he do? Like knock him off the donkey and made him blind for a minute. It was like, okay, come to me. I'm Jesus. And he was like, oh my gosh. And then he like totally changed his life.
Yeah.
So it was kind of crazy thinking about these things and like what Paul writes, because I'm like, Paul knew what was happening in those upper crusts, and what I would have never thought would have happened in our administration or in that upper class. Paul knew, and he writes a lot about the powers and different types of corruption, especially him talking about men laying with little boys, which is the original Greek translation. What is supposed to be the term for homosexuality got changed in like the 1970s.
I thought it was the 50s.
Oops.
The
okay. 50s.
Recent enough.
Yes. It was like he knew what was going on, and he wrote out against it, and somehow our society has changed that to focus on a different group, which I think we've seen that. We kind of know what's going on with that. And if you can't, then you should watch Wicked. I'm sorry.
Crazy.
You should watch Wicked #2. If you hate it a lot, I don't know. You should still watch it. Or Zootopia 2 is one, apparently.
Oh, I like Zootopia. I watched Zootopia 2. Won't watch Wicked, but I watched Zootopia 2.
Zootopia
I
2 is
watched
the
it
other one.
alone.
Anyway, you should watch those. So Paul writing about it here, because to me I was like, am I going crazy thinking that there is certain connections to the history of pagan worship and the atrocities that were happening back in the day, that we're still doing these kind of barbaric acts?
Like, sorry. Like in modern times, like the
Yes.
parallels of like what was seen in Corinth and in Ephesians and like kind of what's
Yes.
going on today still.
Yes.
Do you think that ever stopped? There's parts of me that go like, maybe we just got better hiding those things or not seeing it as plainly. I don't know. That was a bigger question. I kind of derailed you right there.
No.
Sorry.
There's a lot that could go into this. I recently read, I've been on Bible theory reels, Instagram reels,
Nice.
and people have a lot of really great notes to be like, I think this because of this, and God did this because of this. And one of them was someone commented that they think that the devil always puts an antichrist in every generation because he also doesn't know when the rapture is coming, which that is a bigger theological point that we will not get into.
The Antichrist?
Yes, and like all like what the rapture is.
Revelations.
Yes. I recently read through it. I was listening to it. I was shaving my legs. I was shaving my legs.
What the hell?
And I let my Bible play out loud sometimes because I'm like, I'm not very good at like sitting and reading.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me like, I'm an ADHD kid, so I like put it on and listen to it while I'm doing stuff. And that's usually when it's the best, or when I'm in a car ride.
Yeah.
And I was shaving my legs and I hadn't shaved in a long time. So
So you were in there for hours.
Yes, and I listened to like First John because that was like the Bible verse of the day.
Okay.
I let my Bible read me the chapter. I thought I was gonna get out sooner. First John, then, or whatever John, whichever book, then turns into Revelations next. I listened up to Revelation chapter 20.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What were you doing?
Because I needed to shave my legs.
That much?
Yes, and it. There's a lot going on with that. I have like a rash right now.
Oh.
So I have to be very careful with how I shave.
Okay.
Anyway.
Sorry.
I'm gonna cut that.
Sorry about your rash. Keep that in.
Anyway, so I had to be careful, and
you were just in there until
listening about
through Revelations.
Yes. And why was I telling you that? The Antichrist.
Because I asked a question about like, do you think we ever stopped? Like that's kind of always been part of human. I don't want to say human nature, but like that is within us to be able to, I mean, it sounds insane that like we have the capacity to do those things, but like obviously some people do because we have serial killers and like Ephesians and Corinth, like that has always kind of been part of human culture.
Yes.
Is to abuse power like that.
Yes. And Revelations.
Yeah.
In the book of Revelations, which if you haven't read it, go read it. I don't know. Yeah, it is kind of spooky. But it really instills the fear of God. That's one of the books that I'm like, if I'm feeling a little too willy-nilly in my faith, I'm like, I'm gonna read that. And then I'm like, all right, I need to get my act together. Okay, in the book of Revelation, speaking of the Antichrist in every generation, they do talk about, and there's a lot of possible metaphors, possibly not. It talks about how like an angel is describing to John, who is a prophet that went up into heaven, that got this prophecy, which is supposed to be like the story of how God is going to rectify the earth and heaven and make them one so that everything is perfect and like totally destroy evil. That's the synopsis. It talks about how there are 7 horns on the dragon, and so there were 7 leaders that were like the antichrist of those times. And so someone's saying that there's an antichrist in every generation. Also too, when I think of antichrist, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like the devil. It's going to be an evil being that's like so scary. I
don't think that.
Yes, and I don't even think that someone knows who they are. Unless they do, which I'm learning that some people are doing some crazy stuff that I'm like, I cannot believe you would fathom being that kind of person, but okay. Like after reading the Epstein files, I cannot fathom that people were okay with that and that they did that and that they knew what they were doing or why they were doing it or why they just, in general, any sort of reason for being there. I am so appalled. I have never thought, I don't like serial killer shows either. I don't like any sort of that kind of stuff. It makes me feel icky. So I also am like very ignorant in that sense.
That's fair.
Anyway, the reason I think that we keep coming back to that, or if we ever really strayed away from it, I can't say whether we strayed away from it. I do think that God rectifies things over and over, and we see that like within the Israelites coming out of Egypt and then them becoming corrupt and then him having to save them again and reestablishing the promised land, but then that falling and him like having to establish things again. I think it's just a cycle. I think it's a vicious cycle. I think whether there's an antichrist in play in it, I'm sure I could see that because of the things happening. I do think that we do stray away times and that we do get rectified and saved from it, but because our human nature is so evil and so corrupt,
sorry,
I think it will always happen as long as we're on this world. I don't want to say always happen because I want to be hopeful that it won't, but
yeah, this is our hope episode.
Sorry.
No, but I see that being truer.
Well,
that statement of like the pendulum swinging, that's, I don't know the right word for it, like good take. I think that that's very true for a lot of things. So yes. Occam's razor, the most simple answer is usually the right one. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Well, too, in Revelations, I think this is what I was trying to get to initially.
Sorry.
No, because I forgot it too. One of the things that it keeps bringing up was adultery and idolatry, which I think we take as a people too simply to say like sex out of marriage, like we like tweak out over it. But the way that it was describing it at one point in Revelations, I think it was in Revelation chapter 20, they said adulteries, which I was like, more than one. Mm-hmm. So, but I was like, it just was too out of context to be talking about like an orgy or anything. Yeah. So I think the way that they were describing it, and there's other books in the Bible as well talking about an adulteress. One of the biggest like monsters or evil within this prophecy is seen is the adulteress of, I forget what it is, where the place is, but she's like a prostitute essentially. And so I think that's where society gets so focused on the taboo of sex, and again with the homosexual argument, which is how we kind of get tied up into knowing about this and talking about it right now. Yeah. But one of the greatest issues that I think this whole adultery and idolatry issue is referring to is the obsession with power and the wanting of power, which is exactly what sent the devil down from heaven, because he got so focused on not being worshipped and not his own idolatry of himself. He wanted the same power that God had. So it's a fight for power. And so I think, too, that's why we see it so much in these big political figures, which is why, to me, I'm very accepting of the fact that these influencers and these people that are in the upper class, possibly, I don't want to say upper class because it's not all upper class. There are good people out there, and there are people that Jesus does say it's...
Someone's out there riding on their hog.
We were literally talking about like...
We're talking about
deep,
awful,
scary, and then it's like some guys like in the back. Anyway.
There were also kids screaming out there earlier, which
I know, which I was like,
I wonder if you can go back and see when it happened, if it didn't pick up. You can see Marissa and I go. And then anyway. We look.
I know.
Anyway.
It's not impossible for someone. There's a whole, I don't know how deep I should go into it.
We could do an episode on just that.
Yes, and it is kind of a scary episode. Again, this is also kind of going back into that realm that I was like, I'm hoping not to talk about that because I don't know if I'm equipped to speak on it. But I also am like, I keep coming back around to speaking on it. Is that a calling? And also, which again is what happened to me with the whole being gay thing.
Yeah.
Which
Well, and it's interesting because, like, in my perspective, I'm like, I want your take on that so desperately. Not so
really?
desperately, but just like, I'm like, I have those thoughts all the time of like, what about this? And what about this? And that like moral, like gray area. And then it's like separation of church and state. And like, is that even possible? Like, all of these things is like, I'm like, I want your opinion on it. I
Okay,
mean, but it's
great.
also up to you to be like, is that my place to speak on it on this public platform like this? That
Yes.
is very different.
That
But
is true. I guess it's like for me, I'm like, what is the call? Also,
look
I'm
at all those
Hispanic.
things.
I am Native. And if you know anything about that culture or any sort of that sense, in our cultures, there's like too much history of witchcraft and craziness going on in there that I am someone that has always been like, I don't want to play around with that. I know better. I have too many, my family has too many stories where we have literally like cast out demons and stuff that I'm like, so for me talking about these things, I'm like, ah! I've also had my own experiences that I'm like, I have worked very hard in my life to get away from this, but somehow it keeps coming around. And it's even funnier because now that I think about it, I have always been like, I wonder if this is an issue that God is going to ask me to take care of,
Hmm.
because there's like this, I have a whole feeling about it.
We've kind of talked about that before
Yes.
a different time in our
Yes.
lives, but yes.
So it's like,
So
it's really interesting that it keeps getting like, right now I'm like at the point of it where I'm like,
this might need to be addressed.
yes, and also I think that's what made me feel so much like we need to do this episode, because maybe again this was based off of me. It's
Yeah.
like it's coming out. Like I need to. It's like I just have never wanted to address it, but it's almost like it's like in my face right now. Like I feel like the evil that needs to be addressed is like literally like at me right now, and I'm
That's
like
creepy.
I know, and I'm just
Sorry.
like no. That's why I also don't like to address it.
No, yeah.
I'm like, I want to go home.
Ignorant.
I want to watch TV. Yeah. Like, and then
Put
I'm like,
on a
don't be
fun
ignorant.
show.
And God's like,
Yeah.
listen to yourself.
Listen to yourself.
Jesus. That's what Jesus would say.
Mm-hmm.
He would call me a hypocrite. Oh
I
my
think he would
god.
call you.
That's even worse than just being annoying.
I don't think he would call you a hypocrite. That's another thing too, where I'm like, I also just think, I don't know. I think that we're kind of dumb. I think we're just also innately dumb to things like that.
Yes.
Where like you were kind of addressing like the upper class. Again, it's not just upper class that this power thing happens with.
Yes.
It just happens more often, I think.
Yes.
I don't know. But like we're kind of dumb to things like that, or like we choose to not see what we don't want to see.
Yes.
Like people that maybe were around those god awful things, just like being like, but I'm at a fun mansion, and it's like that's over there. That's not me. But like again, that ignorance is also playing into. Well, you were ignorant to it. That kind of alludes to like you were choosing to be ignorant to it.
Yes.
That doesn't absolve you of any sins by closing your eyes and going, no, no, no. Like that doesn't. I don't know. That could be said for a lot of things.
Yes, and also
that's what Jesus would say to you. You're just doing this. You need to look at that demon in the eyes.
I know.
Which is
I'm literally
scary
like,
to do. It's scary to freaking do those things. But,
yes.
And once you open your eyes, you can't close them again, which sucks.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry.
That
was my one rant for the episode.
No,
you can check it off the.
So I guess I don't know where this episode's going. Because
it's going wherever we want.
Yes, because there's.
I'm derailing it.
No, and it's hard because I haven't studied Revelations in the way that I would have felt I needed to for this podcast. However, I do know some things, and I know Jesus and I know God, which again, I think at the end of the day, which is why I put this verse on here too.
Mm-hmm. That was a good verse, by the way.
Yes, because
I didn't say it earlier.
Oh no, I put this verse on here for a totally different reason as well.
Oh,
because okay. First of all, number one, this one kind of gives me peace because it made me be like, am I going crazy to think that there is some sort of spiritual warfare going on within our administration and the things that are happening behind the files that, like those atrocities? No. Like I've had dreams where people are literally being like, you believe in that garbage, blah, and I've been like, I do, to an extent. Which, honestly, yes. And I was like, am I crazy for thinking that? And it was kind of Jesus being like, No. Like, God was giving me that piece of, like, you are not just a crazy liberal that believes in these crazy, because sometimes I'm like, am I turning into someone that's extreme left?
I have those thoughts too of like, I don't want to be out of touch.
Yes. Because I am on left media.
Me too.
That's my...
I won't lie.
Yes, that's my big thing. I've tried to get on right media, guys, too, and I can't.
I have woke views, like letting people live their lives.
Yeah, feeding children. With my tax money that I have to pay.
Educating people. Letting people go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, I have crazy thoughts like that.
Anyway. So this verse for me was also like a piece of like, okay, I can breathe. But also, the reason I have this verse on here too was there's so many questions, but during these questions as well, it made me look at the people around me being like, what do you know? Like, for the people who are still supporters of Trump, I'll just be honest, who are still Trump supporters, there was a point when it was making me be like, what do you know and what are you complacent with? And I am like starting to hate you. Like, it made me so irate.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't understand certain people being like, that's not real, or like, do you believe that, or like, which I can understand where people come from that, because if you're out of touch.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's because they're the 100% the opposite way.
Yes.
They're out. Yeah.
So, but it was making me angry. And mind you, I've mentioned it too, where I work in a place where it's a bit more conservative. I was going into work and I could feel I was like, every day I was like, I'm going to get fired, because I thought, like, if someone said something, which a lot of people say a lot of things at my work, which they probably shouldn't, I was like, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to freak out right now. Like, it was making me extremely anxious and angry. But also, in that same regard, I was like, I cannot, one of the verses out there, I don't remember what it is, but do not let the devil get a foothold in your anger. And God tells us not to be in a spirit of timidness or fear, but to be strong and courageous. And I was like, okay, so what I'm feeling right now, in light of what I'm reading and the thoughts that I'm having and trying to figure out the truth, which isn't bad, it's making my spirit what is contradictory to what God needs me to be right now, or what God wants me to be.
Yeah.
So this is where that verse came in, because I was looking at the people around me, which community and people and loving your neighbor is so important, which is like the number one thing you have to do in order to be a true Christ follower. God tells us, love God and love your neighbor. Those are the top two commands. This verse helped me to get there. And this is why I put that verse in, because I was looking at my neighbor who has different views than me, and I just had to remember, it's not about us. It's not at this level. Mm-hmm. It's against the dark forces. It's against the powers. It's against the world rulers, which I was like, me and you, if we're in the same workplace, you are not a world ruler. Yeah. Like, I have to remember that. Like, we're both here at this computer clocking in and out. Like, it's okay. I needed to remember that they weren't my enemy, which is what also the enemy.
The enemy within.
Yes. I keep thinking of that song, and me and my girlfriend have been singing it a lot lately. It's on TikTok. That's why. The enemy thought he had me, but Jesus said you. There's a lot of like queer to straight videos on that.
Yes, I know what you're talking about now. It's like, I had blue hair in middle school, and now I'm straight and normal.
Yeah, the enemy thought. See, at that, I would be like, the enemy.
Yeah.
So we've been doing that a lot. Anyway. But that's what the enemy would want you to do, is to hate your neighbor, because that breaks up the community and the fellowship that God wants. And especially on this podcast too, we talk about accepting everyone's values when we talk about loving others, because that's what the church is. We create peace off of that. That's what Paul talks about in Romans 14. This verse helped me to get there, just to remember, it's not between you and I. It's not between you and I. You may think a certain way, which I think is stupid, but I'm not going to not love you because of that. And at the end of the day, too, a lot of these people with a lot of different values than me are really great people as well. I have to remember that as well. And this kind of brought me back to earth to see that in them. I'm like, you know what? These are still great people that are writing my checks, that have given me this opportunity, that, I don't know. I have a lot of great people in my life, and I'm really glad that God reminds me that it's not between them and I, to remember that, like, I have a lot of beautiful love surrounding me. Mm-hmm. this is the verse that really got me there. So that's why I put that there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does open up the door to like, well, what are we fighting against then? Which I don't know. That's not. Yeah. It's not for us all the time. Which I have other verses to address that. Yay!
What happened?
Actually, no, it's not in this verse. It's a narrative. It's a biblical narrative, which we've talked about on the pod, to kind of capitalize on what we were just talking about. What are we going to do against the evil that is literally running our country? Which is crazy that I have leaned on these, because they're actually from our big four.
Oh, nice.
To combat that, what do we do about who's in our administration and like the evil in there? Because also that's a big thing for me, where I'm like, I can't do anything.
Yeah,
I can't do anything. Like if I and then they're gonna be like like if I went to the government, that's exactly what I would look like. Yeah. You need to stop that.
Slam.
Yeah.
It's also like I know I've said that. I'm not going to say what I was going to say, because I've said it before on this pod, of like, you think we the people have a chance against drones in the government right now?
I know.
All the guns in the world couldn't stop a drone from a bunker killing us all.
I'm like...
So, we need to do it through the justice system! Yes! Vote in your midterm elections. That's coming up for us, I think. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Midterms. 2026, baby.
We should give it a shout out on the pod.
Yes. When it comes, I think it's August.
Oh.
I'll do more. You know what? Cut this. We need to do more research. But 2026 is the midterms.
But yes.
Justice system.
Yes, and it kind of makes me feel like helpless to think that I'm like, I can't do anything. But this is where I find peace in Exodus. Which is where we talked about the context of those verses, because we see, I forget which verse it actually is. It's the one about like the revelry.
Oh.
That later on Paul talks about in Romans. A revelry was supposed to describe women sleeping with women and men sleeping with men, which is why we went into the context of like what that kind of sleeping together with was about over there. Yeah. We talked about the pagan worship that the Egyptians did over there. We see some laws that God put against things like child sacrifice, and just other things prohibiting certain kind of heinous acts, along with those really tedious ones that we maybe not understand today. But there was a direct condemnation against homosexuality, which is why we dove into it and looked into the context of that, along with Sodom and Gomorrah, which is, again, we see another verse where God literally sends balls of fiery sulfur on the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, which are supposedly condemned because of homosexuality, but we learn more that it's actually in hospitality.
There was a lot of like essay going on too. It wasn't just like homosexuality, it was like lust, abuse, and like assault. Yes.
And those has actually been bringing me a lot of comfort and peace, which who knew that would ever become my reference of like, wow, I'm really loving these. Yeah, great. Because we, again, referencing the essay that we are seeing in there, anytime you see it, and there's also in the book of Judges, I haven't really read it that well, but there's a lot of descriptions, or there's at least some description of essay in there from what I know. And God, especially in Leviticus, putting all these laws against certain actions that we still don't understand to this day. But as we went back into Leviticus and we really looked into those laws, and we realized, hey, some of these he's doing because it replicates pagan worship. He was trying to separate his people, make them holy. If you don't remember what I was talking about right now, you should go back and really listen to that episode. But the point of all of this, and even with Sodom and Gomorrah and him seeing the heinous kind of stuff, and we talked about what was described in the book of Jasher, which is like the woman that was put on a stake and bees were stinging her and she was stung to death, and which that's supplemental. But even then, hearing about Lot and the men trying to bust into his house and do bad things to his guest, to the angels, God's angels. At the end of the day, God has seen all of this before, and he knows it, and he has taken care of it before, and we've moved forward from it, and he's rescued his people, like we saw with the Israelites and we saw with Lot. He recognizes his people. He recognizes those who are crying out to help for him. And to me, I'm like, God's got my back. It doesn't mean that he's forgotten me. Just because the stuff is happening, it doesn't mean that God's not there. He knows it. He knows more than I do, because he sees every little thing happening and things that I would never want to know about. Yet God was like, all right, I'm going to take care of it. He's handling that. And he even does things to protect us from them. And it just really brought me peace, being like, God has seen this before and he's taken care of it before, so I'm going to be okay. It just was very much like we've seen almost exactly this kind of behavior and this, like, the atrocities again with the Epstein files. I keep calling it atrocities because that's the only thing I can think about it, like, describe it as. But God has seen it, and he's protected us from it before. He's given us rules to protect us from that kind of stuff before. He's got our back, and that's okay. And if I don't know every little inkling of it, that's okay, because God is gonna be like, I got you. And there's also stuff happening in the spiritual world, which I don't know if you're some people listening know about, like, the spiritual world or whatnot, or think about those things, but like our conversation earlier about like the Antichrist and those kinds of topics and whatnot. God, again, still knows about it. He's an all-knowing God, and you have lived your life up until this point not knowing about it and still being protected. And we are seeing just a glimpse of some of that evil out there. And I don't know, especially reading the book of Revelations, I was like, wow, there's a lot of craziness that's out there, and that God is like locked up, and that like we'll eventually have to deal with later if I don't know. Yes. We'll get there later, whatever. Maybe not. Maybe we won't see it. Maybe we'll see it in heaven. Anyway, at the end of the day, God knows about it all, and he's protected us from it, and we have lived a really great life. I'm stressed about gas prices. Okay, like, compared to what kind of evil is out there, and you're talking about how scary it is to think about demons and think about, like, I don't know, people that have like sleep paralysis and stuff like that. It's just a glimpse, but yet God has protected us from even greater things that we don't even know that's out there. And if we get so scared at those like small things that we see, imagine what God knows, and he still protects us from that. And so that's where I'm like, we're gonna be okay. If God has handled it before in the past, I'm okay right now. And I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, taking care of my little lake and my little circle, my pond that I need to take care of, the water that I need to keep clean, listening to God, listening to what he needs me to do, not trying to fix everything, because we are not God. We can't fix everything. And letting God do his work.
I think also, like, that's great. I agree. I think starting with keeping your pond clean, I think that's a great way to like start. I don't want to say like, because it's a jump from like your little pond to like the world. But like that is where it starts, is it not? Making sure like your stuff's in order and like your people taken care of, like it just spreads from there. More people taking care of more people is what's good. And like giving it up to God, you're able to like breathe, because it gets tight when that's all you can think about, and like all that you see in like the media, and it's shoved in your face for you to look at the atrocities in this world, and there are many. So it's a hard thing to deal with, but like it sounds so cheesy and cliche, but like at a certain point it's almost for the best to be like, God will handle this. I am allowed to like take a step back from it. And that's hopeful.
It was actually that idea too. I need to give a shout out to the podcast Methodish. Yes, they're Methodists. They are in seminary. They're students right now. They have really great views. They're just like kind. They just like they did an episode on Halloween. They were interviewing somebody, and she was from, I don't know, Nigeria? Somewhere. And she was talking about how like Halloween in their culture is like, you don't do it because you don't play around with that. Like, it was very much like, oh, stark contrast to America that's like about candy. And like, she was like, why would you guys do that? Why would you guys do that at all? And I was like, oh, but they were also like, that's so great to know, thank you, bye. Like, it was they're so cute. But one of the speakers, his name is Jake. one of the hosts, he talked about that as well. I have to remember that I need to take care of the things that God is calling me to do and my focus, because I can't do everything, but also God plants certain gifts to certain people to take care of those other things, and that's what the body of Christ is for.
I really like that. I like that thought. That gives me peace to be like, this is my thing.
Yes.
And this is how I can help other people. And maybe that me helping other people in this way will help inspire them or make them realize this is how they can help people in a different way, and then it spreads.
Yes.
Right? So I like that.
Yeah. Thanks, Jake.
Thanks. I've never seen you.
He follows us on TikTok.
What?
He's actually really slay.
Slay.
Yeah, he's a really great guy.
Slay boots. I wrote some words down there that I thought gave me hope.
You want to read them?
Sure. Now I feel dumb.
Go.
I started with groovy because it was like this Peace Corps vibe, and then I wrote boots and peace and love, unity, slay, and mama the house down.
Slay. Thanks, Care. What?
My sign says horrorcore. Marissa. Marissa, that's been up there for like a week, bro. It went by both of us.
My dad saw it. No! My dad didn't see that.
Dude, that's so awful. It's out of my control. Well, and it's like I wrote that and worked on that last time we were here, and like for a little bit while we were here today getting ready. I cannot believe that was the most unintentional, awful thing
it looks really good. That's the thing. It's like
it looks great.
I think that's why we were so like,
oh well. That's so funny.
I'm gonna leave it.
Leave it. Leave all of this in because that's hilarious. Okay, yeah, I wonder
if you notice, comment.
If you've noticed this sign this whole time.
They're like,
anyway,
our views are like, because people tuned in. Yeah, they're like, what is that? And then we're like, the rapture. And they're like, talking about revelations.
Like, awful things.
Yeah. I'm
like, so sorry.
Anyway.
So unintentional. I'm so sorry. Oh, we're talking about doing. Yeah, we're talking about like spreading our gifts and, you know, helping other people and trying to bring hope to the world through small little ways we can, and then, you know, maybe that made you laugh. You know, maybe that's my gift for you today.
And you know what? This has been a heavy episode.
It was. That's funny. Sorry.
I think honestly, I'm only going to share one more because I feel like that's a lot. Also, I'm really working hard on shortening these episodes.
I know.
Because I'm like, are you guys part of the conversation? You guys want to hear? I'm working on shortening the episodes. Because I also get really stuck on wanting to share all the information at once.
That's fair.
Which my karate professor, I think I've said this before, where he's like, if you teach a man everything, he'll remember nothing. But if you teach a man one thing,
he'll remember that.
Yeah, he'll remember all of it. I'm like,
smart.
I've quoted him once before on this podcast too.
Smart man.
I might have been that quote. Anyway, I only have one more.
What?
We talked about it's not against your neighbor. It's about the powers of the world leaders, the present darkness. God's got our back.
I like that verse because it specifically talked about like the people at the top.
Yes. Which is really great, I think, right now during this time. Especially for a lot of confused Americans right now. It creates that space to love your neighbor. Mm-hmm. We talked about Leviticus, Exodus.
Revelation.
Yes. Genesis, end of Genesis. Mm. God's seen it all before. And he's seen so much more. Mm. We're safe. We're all right. He's going to take care of this. He's going to protect us. He'll rescue us. And this is pretty cliche. The last verse, I'm not going to lie, guys, is 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7. Cast all your anxieties on him, for he cares about you. And I put that one in there because I don't know if I read it or if I thought about it the other day, and I was just like, God really cares for us. If we really put into perspective how big God is and everything that he sees, especially in the light of all the knowledge that we have been either consuming or trying to figure out, or even like with all of the million questions that we had today and like kind of the scariness and like of it all and like the unknowing. God who knows everything, and he has so much to worry about, cares about you as an individual, he cares about us. It's like it like makes me like like I guess that's the only way that I could describe it.
Hmm.
And I just think it's a really neat fact because he does. That's all I can say on that.
I think that's the best one to end on. I think it's cliche, but it's also like it's true. Like
Yeah.
that's why I think cliches become cliches because it's like, yeah, we all know.
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes it's really good to hear it.
Yeah.
Even if it's like I've heard of it before.
Yeah.
Sometimes it hits different, and I think it should hit different because of everything that's going on. So
Yes.
yeah,
He cares. And
I
like to
agree.
think of like someone caring too. It's not just like
Yeah.
he loves you, like
It's like I want to know how you're doing.
yes.
It's not just like I'm here for you if you need it. I'm like, tell me.
Yes.
Put it on me. I'll take it for you.
Yeah, I didn't know how to describe it.
Yeah, it's not just like I'm here if you need me, babe. It's like
yeah.
Let me interact with you. I don't know.
Let me be there with you. Let me like I'm like
yeah, sit with you during it. Yeah, like sit with it.
Yeah. I remembered this and it literally made me like
You're so silly. I don't know. I'm like I don't really feel like that, but like I think it's fun that you feel like that.
Yeah, it makes me literally like
he kissed me.
Yeah, I'm like
so silly.
I hope you guys feel that way too.
You should feel like that.
You should.
That's a great. Well, just like.
Sorry.
No, I did sound like that. Just like I hope you feel like that. You know, that's what I mean. Not like you should.
I didn't mean to be mean to you.
No, that's funny.
Okay,
that was funny.
I took my Adderall today because
you did.
Well, because that was me all day yesterday. Where I was like, "Oh, really? Oh, okay. Just tell me what to like."
God, I could not stand. You know what? I've known you without it.
Yes.
You don't seem too different. Like there are days where I'm like, you just seem more crazy than normal, but it's never like, oh really?
I guess like too. Mean. You have to remember that like
we don't see each other every day anymore.
Yes. Well, we did for a minute.
Yeah, but like not anymore. We're kind of different.
Yeah. Maybe it's because I'm like also not doing sports. I'm like those kids that don't get worn out.
So That's what it is. That's what it is. You're different because you're not having your outside time.
Literally,
you're like a dog.
And so now I'm like,
oh, what kind of dog would you be? Like seriously, like what breed of dog? Because I got told I was a Chihuahua. I got told I was a Chihuahua. And I'm like,
I thought that would have been me. I'm sorry.
I was like, you're like loyal, but also like you're like kind of like lazy if you need to be. And like I was like,
that's not a Chihuahua.
I thought,
I don't think Chihuahuas are lazy.
I feel like they are. They can be. They have. I think there's a TikTok that I saw of this little tiny Chihuahua. It lives on a farm, and the old dad to it just goes, "There's a chicken on the porch, and the dog runs out, goes, and Rich chases the chicken off the porch, and that's its only job. And he comes back in, and he's like,
"Me to my cats."
That's kind of how I feel sometimes. I'm like, "This is my one job. This is my one job." And then I'm like, "Okay, I'm done with my job." What do you think I would be then if not a Chihuahua? Dead air.
No, I want to say you're like
a greyhound because I'm skinny.
What? I'm like, you're fired. I want to say a lab, but you're not.
Labs are also. I feel like labs are also kind of lazy.
But you're loyal.
Thanks.
You're very loyal, but you like your alone time. That's true. Where labs are not you, because labs want to be with you 24/7 and you are not that.
That's why maybe Chihuahua. I feel like they're loyal to like their like my like Yorkie growing up was like, I love my mom. My mom is the only you all can die, but I care about that woman right there. But like so it's like loyal but to an extent. It's like
well, but you also don't have the sass of a Chihuahua. Sorry.
That's fair. No, I agree. I'm pretty
because they're kind of like nippy and like loud, and that's also not you. Yeah, unless you are.
I
like,
don't think
please
so.
shut her up.
I don't think so.
I asked my girlfriend what bug she thought I would be, and she also said an iridescent beetle.
No way.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy? You must be. Isn't that so crazy? That's crazy.
Wait, hold on.
I think
wait for the next episode and we'll give you an answer. Wait, you give me the answer too.
For you?
Yeah, but you guys have to tune in. This is good clickbait.
Clickbait, not clickbait. We talk about dog breeds.
Yeah, what breed would we be? Anyway, guys.
Why do I feel like some kind of like spaniel?
Hold on, guys. We will see you next episode. Happy Hopecore. We'll have a more hopeful episode. Thanks, guys. Yes, because then what's gonna be? They have to get the answer next episode.
Okay, forget I said that.
I feel like it's gonna change. Bye, guys. We love you, and remember, God is good. God is love. God loves you.
Bye.
Go off and produce good fruit.
Dude, I'm sorry.